And hello, everybody. Hello, happy Thursday. It's a day of gratitude. I'm so grateful for all of you. And I'm just seeing this popping onto Facebook Live. So, hello and welcome. And I'm just going to give a moment for those of you who are going to come on to find me. And I'm going to share this out. And I ask that you share it out as you come on as well. And let's talk. Let's just say, let's get some talking going on today. So let me share it. And hopefully, as you jump on here, you're going to be sharing it as well. Oh my gosh, you all came on at the same time. How about that? Hello, everybody. Hello to Alicia Marie and Stein. Oh, Stein, hi. How are you doing? We sent you so much healing energy yesterday. I hope you felt that, honey, and I hope your mom is there with you. Hello, Maria De La O. Hi, Hope and Richie. Oh, it's so good to see you on. Thank you for sharing, Hope. I appreciate that. All right. So it's Thursday here at Transformation Talk. What are we going to talk about today? How's everybody doing? First of all, how's your energy? You know, we had that Lionsgate portal yesterday, and that was huge for a lot of people needing to release something, needing to let go. And I hope that you did that in your own way, however you needed to let go of any energy. I hope that that's something that you were able to accomplish yesterday. So that fits in with what we're going to talk about today, which is using your authentic voice. Oh, yeah. Saying what you mean and meaning what you say, right? Anybody have a problem with that? You can share with us in the comments if you do, and give us some hearts out there to let us know that you're seeing and hearing and understanding what we're doing. Hi, Gary Martinez. And I can't even pronounce this name, but hello. And Robert Dosa, welcome, my friend. And while I'm still just starting here, I want to say happy birthday to my sister Billy up in Kentucky. And I hope that you're having a most beautiful, wonderful day. And Stein, thank you. I have lots of pain still and still in the hospital. Well, we will continue sending that healing energy out your way, honey. And we all care about you and want you safely and quickly out of that hospital. All right, so let's talk about our authentic voice. What does that even mean? What does it mean? You know, there's so many times that we want to say something, but we're held back. We're held back by maybe feeling we'll be criticized or that somebody's going to judge us in some way for what we have to say. So let's talk about what it means to have that authentic way of saying what we want to say. You know, when we are challenged by something, our automatic response can come out in several ways. We can evade. Anybody ever done that? When you're in this conversation and all of a sudden there's stuff that comes up that's challenging, you want to turn that conversation away from dealing with the issue. Anybody ever do that? It's like, oh, look at the sun. Oh, you know, let's talk about this. And you just go somewhere, drift away from that conversation that was a little uncomfortable, maybe, where you didn't want to look at what was right there in front of your face. So anybody experience anything like that as you are using your voice or not using your voice, I should say, in dealing with everyday life? You know, and especially when we're dealing with this transformation that we're all going through, this changing times, and you know, things are more transparent with this energy than what it used to be. We're not able to hide anymore. So if you've ever used that evasion technique of not having to deal with something, If somebody's really caring about you, they're not going to let you hide. They're not going to let you just drift off to a different topic. They're going to bring you back to discussing what it is. That's the challenge. I'm just going to stop for a moment and see what's going on. Maria's requesting prayers. Okay, darling, we will definitely send them your way. Hello, Melinda Lewis. And hi, Lee. I saw you jump in here. Okay. So one way we deal with challenges is we evade. We're like, no, I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm going to shift your attention to something else. Okay, it's the old magician trick, right? It's like, yeah, I'm going to get you to look at something else so that you think that we're still talking about this, but we're really, I'm moving away from what you want to discuss. Another thing that we do is avoiding the subject altogether, avoiding bringing up what it is that's bothering us. If there's a person that we have an issue with, we avoid communicating with them because it's just too painful, or we don't want confrontation. Anybody else lived your life avoiding confrontation? And confrontation doesn't have to be a negative thing. It can be something where, we talked about this in one show about arguing, how arguing sometimes can be beneficial. So when you avoid the situation totally, you avoid the person because you don't want to bring up that conflict or that confrontation, then you're not doing yourself any favors. You're not using your authentic voice to say what it is you want to say. Hi, Margaret Ellen. Thank you for joining us, honey. And if all of you would, please just share this out, share out the broadcast so others know that we're on here. And then we can also, if we're in a challenging situation, we use the technique of attack. Okay, I'm going to flip this around and I'm going to say what I don't like about you, or, you're going to go on the attack as a defense mechanism so that you don't have to look at what it is that's the challenge inside of you. So those are the three ways. A lot of times we deal with things to avoid just having that repartee, that back and forth of really working through things. We can avoid them, we can evade the whole thing, or we can, go on the defensive and start attacking whoever it is that's bringing up those hurtful feelings inside, or those uncomfortable feelings. So if you've used any of those methods to steer away from really being authentic and working through situations, then, let's look at that and let's look at how we can find that authentic voice inside of us. I'm just looking again at your comments. Melinda, learned to keep quiet in my childhood. It just avoided super arguments. Yeah, that's the whole thing, right? Instead of speaking to let yourself be heard, you just shut it down. I resonate with that so much because, as a child growing up, I wasn't allowed to be seen or heard. It was like, nope, just out of sight, out of mind, and stay quiet. Don't ruffle any feathers. Don't be loud. Don't talk. So I totally resonate with what you're saying, Melinda. Hello, Astrid. Thank you for joining in. Your relationship with your mom. Yeah. So that's a tough one, dealing now as an adult with the things that happened in childhood. So what it means to find your authentic voice is to use your words to say what you feel. Margaret Ellen, yes, you've always walked away from any confrontation. Yeah, it's a defense mechanism that we do, Margaret Ellen, absolutely. So when we use our own words, we're not quoting others, or we're not saying, oh, I heard that, and going off what somebody else said. You're saying what's real to you, what you want to speak, what you want to say. So how do we find this? How do we find our authentic voice? What does it take to really get to know what we want to say and how to say it, and even who we are, I call that finding our true center, centering ourselves by being alone, by taking some time to really look at that. How do I feel? Because when we're told in our early youth, our childhood growing up to be quiet, then that's what we do. And we're quiet inside as well as outside. We're like, okay, nobody wants to hear me talk. Nobody wants to hear my opinion. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. So I'll just shut up. I'll just go inside and lock all of that stuff down, right? Anybody else done that? Have you locked yourself away? Well, it's time to unlock it and throw that key away. It's time for that now, so that you can really start using your authentic voice and start saying the things that you want to say to others as well as to yourself. That's the most important. So think about what it is that makes you feel alive, connected, and inspired. What is it? What is it that brings that out in you? Is it nature? Is it music? Is it writing? Is it painting? You know, there's going to be something that you're able to draw out that inner self with. And when you connect with that inner self, you're most likely going to connect with your inner child, that child that got pushed down and was told, no, be quiet, you know, be very quiet because of whatever the situation is. So the inner child needs to learn that it's okay to express. It's okay to speak up. You know, they need to be given permission to say that they can say what they want to say. And Margaret Ellen writing, absolutely. There's many of us that if we really sit with ourselves, we can hear that inspiration start coming through. So I'm so glad that you found that voice, Margaret Ellen. You've published 2 books now, and I'm so very proud of you. You know, others use painting, and they just sit, and whatever comes out on the canvas, that's your inner self being expressed outwardly, and that's beautiful and wonderful. So you need to create that quiet time to do this, right? We're not going to be able to do it in the hustle and bustle. We're not going to be able to be so distracted that we can't even hear ourselves. So taking some quiet time for you is what's going to work to bring all of that out, to bring the creativity out. You know, we see it as creating, but it's really us opening up. It's like you're just taking a zipper and opening up this suit and letting all of that come out. Yes, express oneself in a book or on a pad of paper. Absolutely. Hello, Gerald Ann, and hi, Jimmy. Thank you for joining, and Allison Clausen, thank you for watching. Thank you to all of you who've jumped on. Today on Transformation Talk, we're talking about using our authentic voice and how important it is to say yes when you mean yes, and to say no when you mean no, and to let others hear your voice, to hear that you have an opinion, you have something to say, something to add of value, because we all have value. We're all spirit. We're all connected through oneness. So whatever we have to say, it's for all of us to hear. Okay? It's a time of such transparency that we can't hide things anymore. So whatever we say is for everybody. It's for the collective. So here's some suggestions. Just suggestions. Take what you want, leave the rest. That's what I always say on here. I throw out things to you, and if it sticks, then wonderful. If it passes you by, that's fine too. Walk your own path. Walk your own path. I said that a lot of times we quote other people. I quote other people, but a lot of times we have something that's really of value that maybe others need to hear. You know, I quote mentors. I quote people that have made such an impact on the world, like Wayne Dyer, you know, and or Maya Angelou. I love the things that they added that were of such value. But you know what? We're all that person. We are all Wayne Dyer. We are all Maya Angelou. Our voice is all part of the great oneness. So when we look at other people and we're judging, oh, that person's so wonderful and what they have to say is so important. Guess what? You are that person. You are important. And what you have to say is inspiring and it is beautiful. So let it out of there. Unlock that key, unlock the lock that has your voice tied up and locked up, and get to know who you are. Get to know that beautiful person inside of you that has value and that has things that, that needs to come out and needs to be seen and heard in the collective. And we can all quote you one day, and say the things that you shared with us. So absolutely let that voice free and let it say what needs to be said. I see Deb Weatherstone joined us, and Joanne, thank you for coming on. And I wanted to see what Gina Marie. Hello, Gina Marie. I wanted to see your comment. So let me see if I can scroll down to it. So happy to be present today. I was talking to my son about this just today, about quieting all the voices and listening from within. I love this, Gina Marie. I say all the time, there are no coincidences. There's no accidents. So those things that when we have them inside of us and maybe we say it to somebody, all of a sudden that's going to be reinforced. That's going to be something that you'll receive the confirmation about. So thank you for being here and thank you for sharing that, Gina Marie. It's so true. When we can ask for signs from Spirit, or we can just open our eyes and see those signs that Spirit gives us. And I feel like that was a huge sign for you, to be able to be here and to hear what we're talking about and to share that, yes, quiet the other voices and listen to that voice that's inside. So what happened to diminish this voice? We talked about how some of us as a child, we weren't allowed to talk, or we were shushed and told not to talk. Maybe we had something really important we wanted to say. And maybe as a young child, we were just saying what we wanted to say, whether we were around our peers, our family, or whatever, we started speaking what was on our mind. And then all of a sudden, we paid more attention to what others were saying or thinking or reacting to what we had to say. So maybe that's what shut us down. Anybody ever had that experience where you say things and somebody's, just taken aback by it? And that happens even in adulthood, when we're using our voice and we just, we say something and somebody reacts in such a way that it throws us and we're like, oh, maybe I better not say anything anymore. We can shut down even as adults and not use our authentic voice. So pay attention to how you're betraying your own voice. Are you saying what you think people want to hear? That's called people pleasing, It is. So when you start saying yes to you and saying what you want to say and what you want to hear, please yourself. Don't worry about what anybody else says, what anybody else reacts to. Be that person that pleases you, not everybody else. I want to see what Allison had to say. These are scrolling pretty fast. All right. She says, Grandma was the one that would actually talk to me. I asked her a lot of questions. Yeah. So, even when we're told to be quiet, to not talk, we can find somebody. There's always going to be somebody that'll listen, even if it's the angels. That was what I did. I went up on my little hill on the side of the mountain where I lived, and I just let everything out. I talked to the angels, and they actually listened, and they would talk back. And so I always had that support from angels, even as a little child. Even when I couldn't use my voice inside the house, I could go to my spot, my safe place, and talk to the angels. And Margaret Ellen, in my family situation, but it's not meant to be said. Okay, I think I might have missed something there. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next thing that I wanted to share. So find what it is you want to say and then do it without judgment. Do it without saying, oh, that's a stupid thing to say. If it's what you're feeling and what's inside of you, it is not wrong. You can't get it wrong. So say what you have to say. Maybe learn how to say it in love and with compassion, but say what needs to be said. Otherwise, that little child's in there and it's like, I have something to say. I have something to say. And you're telling it to shush. You're telling that inner child to shut up. Just like as a child, you weren't allowed to talk. You're not letting the inner child talk. So always be true to yourself without judging what it is that you're saying. So I want to see what Margaret Ellen said. Okay, you may have said something that wasn't meant to be said. All right. Hi, Kathleen Johnson, and hi, Raza. Thank you all for joining. All right, so loving what you have to say. Love it. If you're saying something and it feels good, love that and bring it out with love. If you say something and you hear yourself say it and you're like, oh, why did I say that? Then ask, why did I say that? What was I thinking? What was my thought process when those words came out of my mouth? They were your words. So it may be a time to reflect and say, what was that all about? I get that, Margaret Ellen. You were told off for using your authentic voice and saying what it was you wanted to say. Yeah, that does happen. And it happens a lot, even as an adult. People criticize and judge. But the thing to remember is the only person you have to please is you. You're the only person whose opinion matters. All right, be honest with yourself. When we don't listen to our intuition, we're dishonoring ourself, our true self. And when we dishonor ourselves, what are we doing? We're giving other people permission to dishonor us. Do you hear that? Do you get that? We teach other people how to treat us. So if we're somebody that doesn't speak our truth, that doesn't say what it is we want to say, then we're telling other people what I have to say doesn't matter. It does matter. So the more you can be true to you and give yourself permission to speak, you're giving other people permission to let you speak and to hear you out and not talk over you. If you're talking and somebody is just constantly interrupting, what do you do? What do you do if you're trying to speak out and speak your truth and somebody else is, or other people are talking over top of you or not hearing what you have to say? How do you react? This is what I want to know. How do you react? Okay, I'll just wait a minute. If any of you have had that situation happen where you weren't being heard, you weren't being respected to say what it is you had inside to say, how did you react to that? You shut up. Thank you, Margaret Ellen. Yeah, I've been in that situation where I'm trying to talk, I'm trying to get a point across, or I'm trying to say something, and there's like this constant talking over and not hearing, not respecting. We all need to be or should be respected as we're saying our voice. Yes, I shut down, Cheryl Ann. That's exactly it. Stop talking. That's what we do, right? We go quiet. We stop talking. We don't want to rock the boat and say, look, I'm talking here. And we can say it in a very respectful manner. We can say, I'd like to say what's on my mind. I'd like to say my words, and then listen to what you have to say. So I ask for respect to do that. Yeah, that's not really confrontational. That's just asking for respect. Now, it's the other person may take it as confrontational, but that's their problem. That's their issue. If you don't say it in a harsh, hateful manner, like, can I talk, please? That would be disrespectful. If you say, I would really like to be heard right now. I would really like to express myself in a manner where you can hear me. And if you're talking, you're not hearing me. How does that sound? Does that sound good to anybody? Does it sound like something that you could use if this situation comes up again? Yes, I love these comments. Deb, silence is the loudest form of anger, because that's what happens, right? When we're disrespected, when we're not heard, when somebody pushes through and pushes us out of the way, that's really what's happening. What's happening is they're pushing us out of the way so they can say their piece. So if you see that happening, there's an anger that happens. It's like, you're disrespecting me. You're not honoring that I have a voice. I have something to say here. So yeah, silence is a very huge form of anger. And trust me, I'm a master at it. I try more now not to let that anger get to that boiling point. But yeah, I shut down. Absolutely. Shut up and just be still. That has been part of what I have done in the past. But now I find that those words that I just shared with you, and I hope you all heard them, I would love to speak my piece. I would love to say what's on my mind and hear you hear it, that you hear it. And if you're talking, you're not hearing me. So that's a very non-confrontational way of saying, please respect what I have to say. Or you can just say those words. Please respect what I have to say. And then let's discuss. And you can speak your truth then at that time. So there's a wonderful way to do this kind of repartee, this type of communicating back and forth without it getting to an angry point, without it being an abuse, without it being something that comes out of anger instead of out of love. Always try to come from that place of love. So my gizmo for the day, because we are almost out of time here. So I'm going to give you this gizmo. You know how a singer has to tune their voice, right? They go through this whole process of practicing and using their vocal cords and letting the sound and the energy come up and out so that when they do perform, it's beautiful and it's smooth and it's really, this magnificent voice that comes out. Well, that's what I'm asking for you all to do. Tune your voice. When you're in your quiet time, take about 10 minutes and say the things that you want to say. And you can envision, if there's somebody that you want to say something to, envision saying it in a loving, assertive manner and just let it come out. Practice saying what you want to say. Just like the singer tunes their voice, I want you to tune your authentic voice. And then when it comes time, when you're in a situation where it's time for you to speak up in that assertive way, you already know what it feels like. You know what it feels like to say, please respect my time to talk, and then I will listen to you. So the more you can practice that and know how it feels to say that, that's what's going to really help you along your journey of using that authentic voice that's inside of you. I hope that's a helpful gizmo to you, and I hope that you all loved the show today. If you did, please share it out. Even after it's over, people can benefit from watching this. And maybe it's somebody that really needs to hear this today, that really needs to hear that it's okay to say what's inside. to not hold it in, not lock it up any longer, but to let that inner child out. Let that inner child come out and be seen and heard and play to its heart's content, because this life should be enjoyed. Every moment should be a moment of joy. Oh, thank you, Margaret Ellen, and thank you to all of you who are making such wonderful comments. I love you so much. Oh, Deb, thank you, honey. She says she gets so much out of these daily shows. And she wishes we could have an occasional hour-long show. Okay, occasional. I will go with that, Deb. But I am honoring your time. I'm honoring my time. And I just love being here. Thank you. Thank you so much. Tomorrow I'm going to be traveling, but I will let you all know early if I'm going to be able to do the show at 5 o'clock. I'll be discussing that with my traveling partner, and I will definitely let you know if it's going to be 5 o'clock or maybe a little later or earlier or what we're doing. But definitely I will keep you informed. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day or night, wherever you may be. I love you so much. Keep coming back, because I love spending time with you. Bye, everybody.